Today we're joined by two guests who started a nonprofit organization comprised of young professionals with the goal of raising money for local charities. We're joined by Matthew Slade Farkash and Alex Price. They are the founders of Guys with Ties. Gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us. First of all, I noticed that you are both wearing ties. I assume that you are both young professionals.
That is correct.
Yes, we are.
We figured we'd disappoint if we didn't show up with ties.
It's surprising, very surprising. Let me start by asking you guys how you came up with this idea. Why? I mean, so many young people these days are so focused on just making money. You guys are focused on giving it away.
Sure, no, absolutely. And just as a little bit of an explanation of the name itself, it's guys in the generic sense, so both male and female. We have a dual audience. And it's ties as in ties to the local community. We help our members strengthen their ties to the local community. It was really a convergence of two instances. The concept of Guys with Ties was floating out there, and it goes without saying that New York City is a haven for young professionals, and there's so much opportunity here, whether socially or professionally, that it's hard not to fall in love with the city. And at the same time, it's easy sometimes to get lost with everything that's going on. And with such a transient culture, if you really want to dig your teeth into the community, if you really want to root yourself in the community and impact the community, we thought that there wasn't that many options out there to do it. So Alex actually came to me one time with that as the foundation.
And it was really an amazing story, Stephanie, of friends in a community pulling together. About a year and a half ago, my family suffered a tragedy when my father passed away from a sudden heart attack. And coming up on that year anniversary, I was wanting to do something heart disease related. So I reached out to the American Heart Association's office here in the city and just called him up one day last January and said, hey, is there anything that I can do to honor his memory, to make some sort of contribution in his name? They said, absolutely. We'd love to partner with you. Matt, my good friend here, said, I want to help you in that effort. And since then, it was just magnetic. Our group of friends just rallied around what we were doing. They pulled together. Friends of friends, people we didn't even know, started to get behind what we wanted to do. And we hosted a benefit called our Spring Benefit for the American Heart Association. And through that, we raised $10,000 that we were able to localize here in the city to a program called CPR Anytime, which actually reaches out to the inner city school children and teaches them how to perform CPR in emergency situations. So it goes out to the school, and we actually, one of the great things about Guys with Ties is we localize our effort, and we also involve our members in implementing the fund. So we actually get to go out to the schools and be a part of that training process.
This is something, sorry to interrupt,
sure.
Alex, this is something that you guys call, and in the fundraising world is called accountable fundraising. Why was that so important for you guys as you were starting this charity? So often we give money to charity, I suppose, and we don't really see where it goes.
No, absolutely. That was really the core. That was really our foundation in creating Guys with Ties. That was our differentiating factor. And accountable fundraising, as it says, is not only about raising the money, but what sort of tangible impact can you make in the community. And as it relates to our membership base, how we do that is we really involve them throughout the whole donation process. So it's less of a focus on exactly how much money you're able to give, whether it's $5 or $125 or even more, but the important part is involving them so that they can see the tangible impact of the donations. So our members actually are able to vote on which program the money gets allocated to, so we give them emotional responsibility in that process. At our benefits, we announce the winning program, and then from there, it's really a roll-up-your-sleeves approach. So our members are strongly encouraged to go out into the community and help with the execution of the implementation of the program. So as Alex mentioned before, for example, with the American Heart Association, we raised the $10,000, but more importantly, it was what that $10,000 would do. Out in the community, we would be able to train over 400 students in underserved areas of the New York City school system and help them train them with the CPR Anytime kits. And when we do that, our members will be intimately involved in the process. They could see with their own hands what their donation way back in the beginning is actually resulting in the community.
Do you find that young professionals, your colleagues in the corporate world, that you have to push them into doing this, or that they want to give back and they just haven't been given enough opportunities?
That's a great point. And going into it, we didn't know, honestly, Stephanie. But what we found is that people in our age category and kind of our life stage, there's a real unmet need there to give back, especially as you're starting your career and things are crazy and it's a self-focused time. But there is a need amongst our group of friends and people in our kind of category to give back. And even though we're not able to write that $50,000 check right now, at some point we will, but right now the focus is about the impact and knowing what that impact is and turning some light bulbs on in some heads. And eventually people are starting to see, wow, this is important work. It's the kind of stuff that we need to start incorporating into our lives early on in this kind of developmental stage of our lives. And so hopefully, as we kind of become full-fledged adults and into our careers, this will become kind of part of what we do and part of our life priorities that we think are important. And so it's really an unmet need, and we haven't had to sell the idea of it at all. It has been a blessing that people have just gravitated towards it. And it's been amazing.
Were you inspired by people like Rockefeller and more recently Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, these big corporate giants that were so successful in the corporate world and decided that their legacy would really be to give back? Did these people inspire you to do this, or was this something that was more personal for you?
You know, I think it was a bit of a hybrid of both those situations. I think it was deeply personal for both of us as prime examples of young professionals in New York that have so many different things going on, really wanting to root ourselves and give back to the community. But the whole idea of accountable fundraising, we think, is particularly relevant to the young professional community. As young professionals have less to give, but just as much willingness to do good and to give back. And so I think, in terms of meeting the need, like Alex was talking about, there are a lot of different opportunities in the city that are more posed as one-offs, either party for a cause or just go out there one day and work within the community. Whereas we really try to involve our members throughout the entire donation process and give them emotional responsibility, no matter how much money they're giving to the cause. Let them personalize the community for themselves.
We just showed a picture of some volunteers for your next event, Harlem RBI. Can you tell us about that?
Absolutely. Harlem RBI is probably the most inspiring nonprofit, I think, maybe here in the city. What it is, it's an after-school program that uses the power of sport, in this case softball and baseball, to encourage kids to get involved in that Spanish Harlem neighborhood, to get involved in the after-school program, drawn in by the fun of the team sport. But behind the scenes, what it is, it has an array of social programs, leadership training, tutoring, and at the end of the day, college prep, because there wouldn't be a lot of opportunities necessarily for these kids to go to college. And through taking part in Harlem RBI from age 7 to age 18, you're given a wonderful chance at achieving your dreams. It was inspiring to us and our members, and Harlem RBI was excited and willing to get involved with us. And actually, we sat down with them and asked them, what are your needs? And they gave us 3 specific programs that they thought a contribution would really help. And so we've taken these 3 programs and offered these to our general public and said, hey, we want you to come to this benefit, to be a part of this celebration, but also let us know which of these 3 speak to you and are inspiring to you, and then vote on what that is. And then at the end of the day, hopefully we'll raise $15,000. That's our goal. But more importantly, at the end of the day, we'll all have this role in deciding where the money goes and how it's going to be used. And so we're really excited. It's our latest initiative. It's actually coming up a week from tomorrow, called Harlem Dreams. And Harlem Dreams is going to be a big benefit with speakers and entertainers from the local community, and but also especially just rallying around the cause of Harlem RBI and the important life-changing work that they do that affect these children's lives. We hope that we'll get a lot of support, and that the kind of work that they do is talked about in circles of people in our age, because it's just so important.
All right, great work, guys. Matthew Slade Farcash and Alex Price, the founders of Guys with